Welcome to Seattle College's international programs and our show Conversations With, where we talk to people that help you understand how you too can be an international student in the United States and why Seattle Colleges should be your first choice. We'll talk to students and staff and agents and government folks, all kinds of people about what you can expect when you're getting ready to apply or travel here, what you'll experience while you're with us, and how it can all lead to an amazing life. Don't forget to check out the Seattle College's International Programs website at intl.seattlecolleges.edu, where you can find a treasure trove of information about the school, the programs here, and best of all, fill out and submit your application. Again, that's intl.seattlecolleges.edu. Hey everybody, it's Evan Franulovich here. Conversations with Sophia. Welcome. How are you?
Thank you. I'm good. Thank you for having me.
It's so great. I'm so glad you're here. This is our first episode, our first guest from Brazil. Mm-hmm. So yeah, welcome. Tell everybody who you are, what you're doing here, what are you studying, that kind of stuff.
My name is Sophia. I'm from Brazil, and I'm getting an associate's degree in arts.
The arts?
Arts and humanities, yes.
Really? Like what kind of art?
Well, mostly I focused my degree in music, anthropology, and journalism or creative writing.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting. That's so cool. I think you're the first person I've talked to with that kind of focus. So that's really great. So what are you planning to do after you graduate? Where does your pathway lead, do you think?
So I'm graduating now on December 15th.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. I'm applying for OPT, which is the only way international students can work off campus. Right. So it's a year of like an internship or a job within your area. Mm-hmm. So I'm working on finding that position now.
Okay. So you haven't found the position yet?
No, not yet.
All right. Mm-hmm. Do you have some ideas where you want to go?
I do. I really would love to stay at Central, Central's community, and there's I believe, a job at the library.
Oh, great.
And so I'm looking at that and a couple other places in Seattle, too.
All right. Well, good luck.
Thank
you.
A
lot of our listeners ask about OPT. Mm-hmm. So what's the process of applying for it? How do you get in the mix?
So you need to gather some documents like your visa, your passport, if you have one, a social security number, all these things, and then apply through the USCIS, which is the U.S. government. And then once you have all those documents gathered, you need to talk to your international advisor, who's going to then update your I-20, which is another document.
Right.
And then you're going to submit that application. And in a couple months, you get an employment authorization card from the government. Right. And then you're allowed to work. And so there's that. It's a 60-day grace period between the end of your visa and that start of the OPT. Oh, okay. And those 60 days are kind of tricky because you can't leave the country without that card, or else you can't get back in. So I'm not gonna go see my family this Christmas.
Oh,
yeah.
But what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do with those 60 days?
Well, mostly gonna spend them on finding a job.
Oh, yeah,
but also, I'm going to California for Christmas with my boyfriend. So
cool.
That's gonna be fun. Yeah.
Which city?
Berkeley.
Oh, I love Berkeley.
Me too.
Are you going to check out the UC campus while you're there?
Oh, yes. I've done so before. It was the first time I came to America. I went to California.
Oh, really?
So it's a special place, yeah.
Yeah. San Francisco is probably my second favorite city behind New York.
Is the first one Seattle?
No, Seattle would be like number 3.
Mm-hmm. I see.
New York is hard to beat.
Oh, yeah.
San Francisco's awesome, but Seattle's really great too. Mm-hmm. They're just great places. Yeah. Wow, so that's cool. You'll get to go down there for Christmas. What do you do while you're there? Do you just get a hotel? Do you walk around?
He has family down there.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to stay with them, and then, I don't know. Yeah.
Well, this is a topic I've never brought up with one of my guests, but you said you're going to California with your boyfriend. So is your boyfriend from Brazil, or is he from the United States?
He's from Seattle. He's American.
Well, I'm sure that there are listeners out there that are thinking, maybe I'll meet someone when I come to the United States. Do you mind if I ask? I know this is personal. Is it okay?
Of course.
So, where did you guys meet? And has it been, obviously you're still together, so it's a positive experience, but has there been an adjustment? It's like, oh, it's weird going out with an American guy.
We met at Central, actually, at the art gallery where I also work.
Oh, okay. That's a cool gallery, by the way.
It really is.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I love
Maybe
it.
I'll have you talk about it in a second.
Of course. So he came in last year, and then he transferred to UW. But that's how we exchanged contacts and got to know each other. So,
is he at UW Seattle or UW Bothell?
Seattle.
Oh, okay. Cool. What's he studying?
Construction management.
Oh, right on. Good. Cool. All right. So you... all right, cool. Well, tell us, since we just talked about it, the art gallery here at Central is really cool.
Yes.
You want to tell how you got started working there?
Yes. So when I first moved here about almost 2 years ago, I had to find a job on campus. And that was the first job that I found. And Megan, who's my boss, had just started working at the gallery. Yeah. So I kind of started at the same time as her.
Oh, well, that's cool.
And yeah, that was really cool. We had a really nice team, and then a part of the team, moved on, graduated. So now we have a different team.
Sure.
But it's called the M. Rosetta Hunter Gallery, and M. Rosetta Hunter was the dean here about 20 years ago, and she was great. So that's in her honor.
Didn't know that.
And yeah, we have exhibitions from local artists over the country, and students too.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah.
What's being featured right now?
Right now we have Lush Computation, which is a show involving 4 artists, and it's digital media. Oh. So it's about bridging the gap between humanity and arts and technology. So it's a very interesting, and it's a beautiful show too.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, I'll check that out. I've gone in there many times now. I think I've met Megan. In fact, talked to her at least a couple times. The first show I went in and looked at had paintings that depicted life, say, like in Central America. There were some very indigenous-looking people. It was so cool.
Was that last fall?
I think it was last fall, because I started in the fall. Yes. So it would have been the first one.
I remember that. That was Viva la Comunidad.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, celebrating Latin Heritage Month.
Yeah.
So that was an awesome show to work at.
Really amazing pieces of art. And what happens to that art when the show runs its course?
So if it's student art or faculty, it can go back to the artist, or they can choose to donate it to us, and we keep it in a collection, and then we exhibit it, but it also goes to different offices on campus. But if it's for that show specifically, since it involved artists from outside of the school, it went back to them.
Oh, gotcha.
So, yeah.
Yeah, right. And do you have any say? Do you give input on what would be coming up next? Or
no, that's Megan's job.
That's
She's
Megan's job.
The curator, but I do give some input on lighting and how we should maybe place things, and so she's very open to that.
Cool. So how did you find that job? Did you just walk in and ask if they had a job? Or?
No, I didn't even know there was a gallery on campus.
Oh, you didn't? Okay.
So I was just, I don't remember. I think I came here to the international offices and asked, how can I find a job on campus?
Right.
And that was one of the openings, and I was like, oh, art gallery. I like art.
Cool.
So, yeah.
And how many hours do they work you per week?
About 10 hours, 10 to 15. It varies. But yeah, as an international student, you're only allowed to work, I think, 16 hours per week. So, yeah.
But I wonder, I know we work, our students here in the International Programs Office 16 hours, but I don't know if they do that in all the other parts of the schools. So.
Yeah. That's a standard, I think.
Right on. So one of the things I was talking to you about before we started rolling was how good your English is.
Thank you.
It's hard to even tell that you're not from the United States.
Thank you so much.
So that's really great. Are you fully Brazilian, or is one of your parents from the United States? Or?
No, I was born and raised in Brazil. Both my parents are Brazilian. I just started learning English at a very young age, as we usually do in Brazil. But when I decided I wanted to pursue this and get out of the country, and I went to a specialized language school.
Oh, okay.
And studied there for a few years. But what really helped me was YouTube, social media, music, Netflix, and then of course coming here.
Right.
So yeah.
Now, I have a buddy back in China that I worked with, and he watched episodes of Friends to improve his, and his English was amazing. It was really great. Yeah. So before you came, you had to obviously take a test of some sort to show that you had English proficiency. Which did you take?
I took the TOEFL. I don't know how to pronounce that.
Yeah, I think that's right.
I had a partner once who had to take that test, and we called it Teufel, which in German means devil.
Oh, yeah, it was the devil, right?
Yeah, but it went fine. Yeah. It was an in-person test. There's some listening, some talking, and that was the one I took, yeah. So
for people, young people in Latin America, if you were going to give them advice on how to prepare for a test like that, what would you tell them?
Don't spend a lot of time trying to perfect your grammar or looking at the textbooks. Listen. That's the big thing, listening, and as Evan just said, watching shows, and if you can interact with native speakers, try to always speak to your teachers in English. So yeah, that's the thing that helped me the most, because I was never I didn't ever really pay attention to the math of grammar and trying to perfect that. It was always like, I'll listen, and then it grows within me, and then it's there. I don't know. Just relax and listen.
Relaxing is good, yeah. Well, right now I started a couple of years ago when I was in China. I started studying Brazilian Portuguese.
Really?
I don't know why. I was like, it sounds cool. I mean, because I studied Spanish in school, and I was like, how hard can it be? I also speak French. So I started. So those are, but I don't think I speak very well because I've never really actually had a chance to use it except for like a week or so when I was in Brazil. So. Yeah, if you can find native speakers to practice with, that's a really great idea, because I haven't. And
I would love to hear it. Can you say a sentence?
Eu falo português.
Muito bem.
Muito bem. Tudo bem. There's enough crossover between Spanish and, like, I can figure out conjugating verbs is pretty easy. Yeah. But yeah, I'm working on it. Cool. I got to travel back down to Brazil probably in March. So I got to practice a little bit before I get there.
Yes. Where are you planning to go?
Well, the itinerary hasn't been fully set, but for sure Sao Paulo. I've heard Curitiba. I've heard Rio. I've heard Porto Alegre. I don't know exactly. So maybe. Where are you from? I can't remember.
I'm from the state of São Paulo, but it's a smaller town about 2 hours away from São Paulo called São João da Boa Vista. So.
Is it close to Campinas?
Yes.
Okay.
It is.
Gotcha. Yeah, last time I was there, we went to Campinas to do some school visits, which was really fun.
I bet. Yeah.
The kids were awesome. Shout out to the Brazilian kids that I met. It was really amazing. Actually, the country is just really amazing. If you haven't traveled to Brazil, go. I know a lot of people here hear how dangerous it can be, but it's. Right. I thought it was fun.
You just have to know where to go.
Right.
And it's a beautiful country.
It was amazing. Yeah, it was really great. I'm excited to go back. All right, so you're studying here. How has the transition been from what you did in Brazil to what you're experiencing in the United States, like in the classroom?
So when I came to America for the first time, to live here, I came through an exchange program for my senior year of high school.
Oh, cool.
So I was in Anacortes, which is a town in the...
That's where my grandfather is from.
Oh, really? Yeah, so I lived there for about a year and went to high school there. So I got to know the school culture.
Yeah, you probably met my family. My cousin, Paula, runs the kitchen at the high school.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's awesome.
Her last name is Linbo, so
I don't recall, but probably, yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
It's a very small town. So
right. Which exchange program was that?
It was CHI.
Okay.
I don't recommend them, by the way.
Oh, all right.
So I got familiar with the culture. I improved my English a lot living in that town. And then I had to go back to Brazil, and I was there for about a year and a half because of COVID. So I couldn't come back into the country. But while I was living in Anacortes, I got to know Seattle, and I really liked it. So that's what prompted me to come back.
Right. Well, before I started rolling, I also was talking to you about most Brazilian students that I talked to that were thinking about coming to the United States, they were like, oh, I'm going to go to Florida, or something like that, because they're used to the weather and that kind of stuff.
Right.
But you like Seattle? I mean, you like the weather here?
I do.
I mean, it's definitely cooler.
It is.
Yeah.
It's very different. I mean, you have 9 months of rain. I have 12 months of sunshine.
That's right. It's tough.
But in Brazil, I used to love the rain whenever we got it. And, we have rainy season.
Sure.
But when I came here, it was so much rain and so little sun that I was like, wait a second, maybe I don't like rain all that much. But no, it's great. It's I like the weather and I like the people, and it's beautiful in the summer and in the fall and in all seasons.
Right.
So I've never been to Florida, but I think it's a valuable experience to just switch your scenery completely.
Right?
Yeah.
There you go. Don't go to Florida. You've seen Florida. Come to Seattle.
Yes.
Yeah. The Northwest, really, I've been all over the United States, and I really feel like the Northwest part of the U.S., that's Oregon, Washington, Idaho, it's just some of the most beautiful country that we have to offer. So check it out. And, honestly, last time I was in Brazil, I was there in the fall. And when I arrived in Sao Paulo, I was glad that I had brought my jacket because it was freaking cold. Yeah. Everybody was saying how strange it was. And I think in Porto Alegre, it had snowed or was really cold.
That's far south. So, yeah. We get some of that.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, cool. So let's talk about housing. So you stay where? What did you decide to do for yourself?
Right now, so the family I stayed with in Anacortes was friends with a family in Seattle, and they happened to be renting their basement. So it was perfect. Yeah. So I've been living with them for almost 2 years now, and finally they're deciding to sell the house. So I'm moving out soon.
Gotcha.
But yeah, that's how it happened. So it's been great.
That is great. Wow. So that you didn't have dorms, you didn't do any of that. You just went straight to their house.
Yes.
Well, that's really cool. I don't hear that kind of a thing very often. That's really great.
I mean, the downside is that it's far away from campus. So it takes me about an hour to get to campus.
Oh, where's your...
Greenwood.
I don't know where
Greenwood is. North Seattle.
Okay, because I live in Edmonds.
Oh, yeah.
So is it close to Edmonds?
I guess. Is that north?
Yeah, so like if you go to Northgate, the subway station.
Yeah, it's pretty close.
And then I have to catch a bus from Northgate to Aurora, which is up on like 200th.
That's where I live, Aurora.
Okay, so we're in the same area, yeah. So yeah, it takes about 45 minutes to an hour for sure.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
So do you use public transportation?
I do every day, yes.
What do you think of our public transportation?
It has its problems. Sometimes it's not very reliable.
Oh.
But I love it. I love taking the bus. It's a moment of relaxation, really, because you're just sitting there. And I always wear my headphones, and there's stuff going on around.
Sure.
And pay attention, but I like it. I like it a lot.
So it's always hard to hear that kind of feedback because we take pride in our public transportation, but she's absolutely right. It can be unpredictable.
Yeah.
Like sometimes for some reason, usually it's because they can't hire enough people.
Right.
Like all of a sudden, like the 302 line won't be running. And I'm like, what? So I have to wait another 20 minutes for the next bus or something, which is really annoying sometimes.
Yeah, and I understand that. I'm about to interview, because I also work for the school's newspaper, and I wanted to interview one of the King County's operators of the year.
Oh, cool.
And talk to them and hear their stories, because I bet they have a lot to share.
I'll bet they do.
Yeah, it's... we're all human, so I get it.
Sure, yeah, right. Usually it's pretty good. Like the subway, I've had no problems on it. Sometimes there's, somebody who's homeless that's sleeping on it, but they usually don't bother anybody. And
not at all.
From the time I started this job and started taking public transportation until now, it seems like they've really beefed up their security presence. Like there's a lot more people out there that are taking care of things. So that's been encouraging.
Yes.
So yeah, and I think they're doing a lot of hiring. Like I'm not seeing, over the last few months, I haven't seen as many delays as I had like during the summertime.
That's true.
So
yeah, I
maybe
agree.
it's getting better. I don't know. Hope so. But it is really good, but can be unpredictable. Sure. All right. Well, you had mentioned earlier you had been here, then you went back to Brazil. But in order to get, so when you were here in Anacortes, what visa were you on for that?
It was a J1
It was a J1 visa. So you had to go back to Brazil and switch up your visa.
Yes.
What was that process like?
I had to go to the U.S. Embassy down in Brazil a couple of times to get the F1 visa, the student visa, approved. And I think I had to get another passport because mine was expired. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't very hard at all. I believe I had to first apply to Seattle colleges and then get that letter of admission and then take
the
that
I-20.
to the... Yes. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't hard. It took a few months, but yeah.
Your waiting time from the time you got your I-20 to your visa appointment was how long?
I really don't remember. Okay. But it was not... I don't remember being bothered by, oh, this is taking so long.
Right. Yeah. Do you remember the interview?
It was very quick.
Okay.
I don't even remember it. But it was, I remember being nervous and are they going to let me in or not?
Sure,
but it was, because you get really worked up. I mean, you hear about these things, but it was very tranquil. It was
good.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's helpful that you'd been to the United States before and then traveled back to Brazil. I think they look at that as encouraging that, you'll probably go back to your country after you're done with your education. That's what they like to see. So, if you have the opportunity to travel to the United States as a tourist or as an exchange student, I think it does help your chances of getting your visa.
That's true.
But like a lot of the Latin American students I talk to, there's always the worry that they're going to get rejected for their visa. So I know a lot of people want to hear about your experiences. Well, that's really great. I'm wondering about your culture shock since you had already been here. Maybe you could talk about your culture shock when you were an exchange student in Anacortes because you'd already been here.
Yeah. There wasn't that much culture shock since I grew up watching all these American movies and TV shows and all these things and studying the language. But I guess I remember one thing that I found was so weird that every time we had like guests over for dinner or I was a guest at someone else's house and then it was time to go home, they would just get up and leave on their own and like the people wouldn't walk them to the door and wait for them to get in the car, which is what we do in Brazil. So that was weird to me. But,
that's different. That's not how it works in my family, by the way.
Oh, okay.
So that's really interesting.
Okay, maybe it was a...
Well, we're a melting pot here in the United States, so
yes,
you get all kinds of different people.
I really like that about America. I don't know. I think that was it. And then definitely dealing with the language because when I came, I thought I was so prepared because I had studied English and I thought my accent was so good and I could understand all these things. But then I came here and it's actually, wait a second, I can't express myself the way that I want to.
Sure.
I can't. So I had this moment where I just hated English. I hated everything. So I started, because I've been journaling for a long time.
Oh, good for you.
For a while, I was journaling in English. But then when I came here and actually had to use English to get by, I just started writing back in Portuguese just out of spite.
Interesting.
But, time went by and I met some people and I was like, okay, I can,
They talk about, what she's talking about is very common experience, I think, for a lot of students. They talk about kind of this resistance. And I was an exchange student to Belgium when I was in high school. And I went through that very same thing. First, it's all exciting, and then you start to resist. And then in the end, you start to just relax and get into it. So expect that. And they'll talk about that during the orientation, I think. They try to prepare you, but until you've gone through it yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really hard. That's really great. All right. Well, cool. I wanted to know about the timing for you. When I was in Brazil, and probably this goes for a lot of countries that are Southern Hemisphere, many of the countries graduate their students from high school, not in the spring, but in the fall, right? You graduate right before December?
But yes.
From high school?
Yes.
So when you graduated from high school to come here, what was your first semester or what was your first quarter?
Yeah, so there was an overlap and I ended up doing kind of like a double senior year because I left Brazil in September, which was the middle of the school year for my senior year. So I had already done half of my senior year in Brazil, and then I did a full senior year in America.
Okay.
So, yeah, that was how that worked.
So you graduated with a diploma from Anacortes High School?
I did.
Woo! Cool. I don't remember what's their mascot.
Oh,
Anacortes.
the Hawks.
Seahawks.
The Seahawks.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. The Seahawks. If you're here visiting Anacortes, it's a pretty little town.
It really is.
It's right on the water, and there's a
yeah.
lot of boats. And
The ferry.
Cool.
Yeah.
Have you done much traveling within the state of Washington? Like, have you been to the national parks?
No, not at all. I've only been, Seattle and the San Juan Islands.
Oh, yeah.
That's all, yeah.
Right. Well, get your boyfriend to take you out to like maybe Mount Rainier, or have you tried snowboarding yet, or
no
winter sports?
No, when I lived in Anacortes, that was the first time I saw snow.
Oh, really?
So,
the first time? That's so cool.
It was very exciting.
It is very exciting. I always forget about that experience.
Yeah.
I grew up on the Oregon coast, and when we would see tourists come from interior of the United States, like maybe they live in Utah or Kansas and they'd never seen the ocean before.
Oh, yeah.
It was always fun to watch them get out of their cars or get to the beach and then experience that for the first time. That was really cool. Yeah. The thing about Brazil, it was so great when I was there, is how, seemingly extroverted everyone is. There's a joie de vivre. Everyone's super into life.
That's true.
Have you found the United States to be less of that?
Definitely.
Yeah.
That was, I should have said that during our culture shocks moment.
Right.
I forgot about that. It is true. It's, Brazil is much more informal than America.
I would agree.
There's not so much of this hierarchy that we see here socially, but also just when you go and order a coffee or you're riding the bus, the people talk to each other, and they talk to each other as equals, as humans. So you take the bus in Brazil, and someone will sit by your side and just start talking about how they're in bad terms with their daughter or something. And then here everyone is very reserved on their phones.
Right.
And I mimic that when I'm here.
Oh, you do?
So, but it's definitely a big difference.
Yeah. But you said you'd met, I think you said it earlier in the interview, that you'd met some other students. So you have a social group, you have a group of friends. Are they mostly international? Do you interact with domestic students as well?
I would say it's pretty 50-50 at this point, Americans and international students. But at first, all of my friends were international for sure. It's easier to form that connection since you're both looking for friends and you have that big thing in common, which is you're so far from
different parts of the world.
Yeah. But as time went on, I got situated at Central, and then also with my jobs on campus, that really helped me make more friends. So yeah, I have a small circle, but good people.
Cool. Are you involved in any clubs or community groups? Like, for example, I just interviewed somebody, and they were telling me how they were involved with, actually it was Andrea. She's from Spain, and she's part of this Spanish association that kind of is between Oregon, Washington, and Vancouver, Canada. Yeah. And they're a group of people that are originally from Spain, and they get together socially, but they also, they've tried to lobby for flights direct from Madrid to Seattle. Yeah. Do you do any of that kind of stuff? Have you done clubs?
No, I'm the vice president of the study club here, and we just found that club like a month ago.
Oh, well, cool.
Yeah, we thought that the hours of the library, it closes pretty early, and we thought students want study buddies and to get ready for fall and everything. And so we got our own room and hours.
Really?
So, yeah.
You mean they gave you a room to use for your club?
Yeah, that's, it's scheduled, and it's over at the student leadership building. But, it was great. It was a very easy process of creating a club. So, yeah.
So you said president?
Vice president.
Oh, you're the vice president. Yes. Who's the president?
The president, her name is Ginny, and I met her at an English class that we're both taking this quarter. So,
all right.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully some of you listeners are already students at Seattle colleges, and if you're interested in the study club, go and talk to these guys because they can give you the info, and you can get some study buddies. That's a really great idea.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, and I think it's really important since the end of COVID, people
Yes.
are not used to interacting with one another as much anymore. So that's a really cool opportunity.
Yeah.
Well, what do you do for fun around town?
That's a hard question.
Right.
I really like just going downtown to Pike Place Market is
Right,
always
it's pretty cool.
nice. It's a very cliche answer, and there are some parks. Gasworks Parks is really pretty. But I don't know. I like trying new coffee shops around town.
And we've got a lot of coffee here.
Going to museums, galleries. But I also like, I like open mics and music, writing. Yeah.
Right on. When you say open mics, is that like music or is that comedy?
Music.
It's music.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so where's a good? I'm fairly new to Seattle. I'm not from Washington originally, so I've only been here a little over a year. Where's the best place to go for open mics?
There's a really nice community at Couth Buzzard, and it's actually in Greenwood, so near you.
Not too far.
Yeah. And they meet every Wednesday at 7.
Oh.
And it's everything. You can perform whatever you want. You can do comedy, acting, or music. And I've been involved with them for maybe as long as I've been here. And it's a really just sweet community.
Do you perform?
I do. I haven't in months, but I used to.
What did you do? What was your act?
Opera singing.
What? Oh, my gosh. You do opera?
I do.
I'm not going to put you on the spot. I would love to hear it, but wow, that's really amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah. Is that something you have entertained doing professionally?
I have thought about that. Some of my singing teachers and some of my family really want me to pursue that, but I'm not quite sure because it's a new world for me. I only started singing about 2 or 3 years ago, but it's something I love.
Have you thought about doing an OPT with the Seattle Opera?
I have. That was the first place I looked at, actually. And they're not hiring right now, but it's. I really love the Seattle Opera.
So you've been to quite a few of their performances?
Yes, I've been, and I wrote some articles about their opening nights, and I really like it.
Do they give a deal for students? Are tickets cheaper for students?
No, not really.
So sad.
Yeah.
Maybe you can lobby them. Say, hey, give us a discount. We're poor.
Right.
Poor students. That's really great. Oh, do you hear that? That means it's trivia time. Trivia time, we ask you 5 questions. They all are loosely related to Seattle colleges or the area. So if you answer them all correct, you're on our wall of fame. And if you don't answer them all correct, we shame you to no end. No. Not really. It's a safe space here. Don't worry. There will be no shaming. All right. Question number 1. The Seattle area is surrounded by water on 2 sides. Can you name one of the bodies of water?
The Pacific Ocean?
Well, kinda, yeah. Pacific's out there, but what's the body of water inside all the islands? And
I don't know.
That's the Puget Sound.
Right.
That's right. But we'll take
take
the Pacific Ocean because it is connected to the Pacific Ocean. But with the body of water inside is the Puget Sound. Very good. All right. Question number 2. The state of Washington is fairly large. There is most of the people living in the West, in the cities in the West. Can you name one city that's in the eastern part of the state?
Pullman.
Wow! Yes. And bonus question, do you know what's special about Pullman?
The university.
Yes, the university is there, Washington State University. Cool. Have you been to that campus?
No, not yet.
It's really, it's worth going out to the east and checking that out. Yeah, the east is really pretty. It's kind of rolling hills and a lot of agriculture. It's really great. All right, very good. Nice job. I'm impressed. All right, question number 3. There are how many quarters in the Seattle College's schedule? How many quarters are there?
4?
There are 4 quarters. Great. And true or false, you can start during any of those quarters.
True.
That is true. Good. All right, your last question. Who is your favorite American actor?
Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks is really great. What movie do you like him in the most?
Big. I find such
old
a sweet
school.
movie.
Wow, that's pretty good. Yeah, Big is really a great movie. He's so young in that movie.
He really is.
It's pretty funny when I watch that stuff. And now the newer stuff that he's done, I'm like, he's definitely aging.
Another one that I really like with him is Catch Me If You Can with Leo. Yeah, I love that movie.
Yeah, I haven't seen that movie for a long time. And if you like the story, I recommend the book because it's a really great book too.
Yeah,
and it's just a little different than
a
the
real story.
Yeah, it's based
crazy.
on a true story.
Yeah.
That's really wild. Well, good job. Nice.
Thank you.
I think we'll put you on the Wall of Fame. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Well, in the end here, what we like to do is give you the opportunity to give your wisdom to the people in your region, specifically Brazil. Okay. But, we have listeners, there are quite a number of Portuguese-speaking countries in Africa, and that's part of my region. And, of course, I was just in Portugal, and, they speak a little Portuguese in Portugal.
Yeah.
So
I published a book, and it was published in all Portuguese-speaking countries. So 2 countries in Africa and Portugal and Brazil. So well,
let's see if you can answer this question. Name one Portuguese-speaking country in Africa.
Cabo Verde.
Ah, very cool.
Angola.
Yeah, for sure. Mozambique, I think, is Portuguese. Cool. All right. So, final words of advice that you would give to young people in Brazil thinking about coming.
Come, definitely. Give it a shot. Don't be nervous about the interview. It's gonna go great. Relax. Don't set up any expectations for things to be just like the movies.
That's
true. They will be, but not all of it.
Uh-huh.
So, just relax and just honor yourself.
That's good advice. I'm going to say one thing about it though. The interview will go well if you prepare. If you don't go in knowing your stuff, that can be a problem.
Yes.
So make sure you understand your education plan.
Yes.
Make sure you understand where your money's coming from because they're going to want to know you can support yourself.
Yes.
But yes, if you come well prepared, you shouldn't have any problem.
Yes.
And you'll feel more confident too if you feel like you know your stuff.
That's true.
Really good advice. That's good. The other thing I've been doing in season 2 is giving the opportunity for you to say some sort of words of encouragement or advice or whatever you want to say in Portuguese. In your case, it's Portuguese.
Okay.
To the people back home, maybe just 20, 30 seconds.
Relaxa, vai ficar tudo bem. Não leva a vida muito a sério. As coisas vão funcionar e mesmo se der errado, vai dar certo. Só isso. Yeah, that's all.
Cool. Tudo bem. That's great. Well, thanks so much for your time today.
Thank you.
That's great. Yeah. I have 1,000 more questions for you, but we're out of time. So, hopefully we'll meet again. And
definitely.
Good luck for your continued education you're graduating soon. Will you come back to actually walk for the graduation?
No, I don't think I will.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Well, it's kind of too bad because it's in the baseball stadium, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's exciting.
All right. Well, good enough. Congratulations and have a great week.
Thank you. You too.
Bye-bye.
Conversations With is painstakingly crafted for you by the Seattle College's International Programs Department and supported by the lovely folks here on our campus. This show is produced and edited by me, Evan Franulovich. We welcome your emails and questions about coming to Seattle Colleges. Please reach out to us via our website or just give us a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts, as this helps others discover the show. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, or YouTube at Seattle Colleges INTL. That's Seattle Colleges INTL. And be sure to check out all of the shows here on Conversations With. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.